and an exhibited photographer based in Toronto after immigrating in 1996. Since the age of 15, Reza has been actively engaged in drawing, photography, and poetry. The first edition of his book of poems, Solitude, was published in June 2017. Solitude is an enigmatic and mystical brevity on love, hatred, hope, and despair through one's life. It's a man's story of living his life without fear of revealing his vices or affirming his virtues. And you can also purchase copies of Solitude here tonight for $10 at the table. You can view Reza's work on Instagram for his photos, so it's at Reza Eslami, his poems at My Poems of Solitude, and his architecture at Icon Architectures Toronto. Please welcome Reza.
Hello, everyone. A few months ago, my niece told me, now imagine my niece, this around 30-year-old psychology major, and whenever she's staring at you, you just know that she's totally psychoanalyzing you. So she told me, Reza, yes dear, you're a fraud. What? You are a fraud. But why? Because you're this happy, always smiling person. You are goofy, you tell jokes all the time. And then I read these poems, and all I want to do is to cry. I think the problem is that you're reading these poems and you're trying to figure me out. I don't really believe that my poems are sad. Perhaps the sadness is just a facade. This veil that if you lift and understand the true message, you almost always find hope. A line from the movie Shawshank Redemption, hope is a good thing, maybe best of things, and no good thing shall ever die. In fact, if I didn't choose solitude for the title of my book, I would have called it Hope. I would have probably sold more books too. Because not everybody understands the true idea of solitude. Not everybody has felt the hardness of the pavement with their bones. The poems in this book are not chronologically organized, and it's because I don't want anybody to figure me out. No, but jokes aside, because this is not what it's about, if you really want to figure me out, I would read the epigraph that I picked for this book, and it's from Rilke, and it truly sets the tone for this book. If I had to have a God in my life, Rilke would be it, and his book, Letters to a Young Poet, would be the scripture. Therefore, dear sir, love your solitude, and try to sing out with the pain it causes you. For those who are near you are far away. And this shows that the space around you is beginning to grow vast. Be happy about your growth, in which, of course, you can't take anyone with you. And be gentle with those who stay behind. Be confident and calm in front of them, and don't torment them with your doubts, and don't frighten them with your faith or joy, which they wouldn't be able to comprehend. Now, I've selected 12 poems to read tonight. Originally, I selected 20, but then Banu had an idea and said, okay, practice and then time yourself. So it was like going for 45 minutes. So I had to chop it. And tonight, I've organized them chronologically for you only into 4 episodes. These 4 episodes pretty much sums up the last 4 years of my life. 4 years ago, I went through this massive change in my life, and which is the reason is beyond this gathering. But I remember I read a quote, and this quote was the beginning of this new era for me. The quote said, "We don't build walls to keep people out. Sometimes we build them to see who breaks in." And I thought to myself, what if everyone else is busy building their own walls? So I decided to break my own walls and to tell it like it is. So I started questioning all of my thoughts, my deeds, bluntly and often unkindly. I started beating myself up. Well, not literally. Literally. It rhymes. And to tell everyone, hey, I'm a damaged good. Would you still buy me as is? And someone did, another psychology major, and she slowly, carefully, and patiently gluing back this mess together. It's funny, I have 2 psychologists who are dearest to me in my life, and one is deeply in love with me and the other one thinks I'm a fraud. How sick is that? Now, the 4 episodes. The first one is called The Disaster. Second episode is called Bitter Taste of Resentment. Episode 3, Realization, or Who the Hell Are You? And episode 4, When You Realize That It Is Love. Episode 1, The Disaster. This is called Fell Asleep. For those of you who don't know what it means, it's a person who suicides. I was bound to stray from my being when the storm hit, vanishing the immaculate dream, the flower pots, the bench, the house, my thoughts, the hope, leaving me all worn out, tattered, and the perpetual sneer was all that I could bleed. Time is a treason, and all the little things I do, I try, no matter how alienated they make me from recurring notions of this theatrical, stoic genre brings me back to the idea of painting an exit path to the reclusive world of abandonment without any tactical thought of reality. Shadow of a man. As the night fell over the pasture of hope, nothing could be seen, and only the scream could be heard. The scream begging the soul not to abandon the deck of the body. The scream, a naive attempt to break contradictions, to banish reality, to overcome fear, and to even stop time, fades away. The light is ebbing into the void of shadow, and the maddened tears of decay find their way down from grace to a silent need. The need to see all the beautiful things bleed out of the feeling. Shadow suffuses, and doubt lingers, and contradictions remain, and reality smirks, and fear abounds, and the clock keeps ticking, and the soul fades away. Unremitting hell. Cafe is deserted. Lingering rain is coming from the purple sky. Same look in the eyes with mine are asking for some change. I look away. Glittering reflection of the street lamp on the asphalt makes me look up. A seagull flies by my head. Reminds me of the first day I met you. I wanted to play. This is a song that I know so well, like a bright light shining through my window. This has been so long a wait. You're not answering my prayer. How I tried so hard to keep my distance from you, not more than just a few steps, having an eye on you and the other eye away. I wonder if you ever knew it was my heart hanging by a thread from your egocentric cloak that you had forgotten to pull away. Wound won't fade. Hurt won't mend. Heart won't heal. Love won't chase. My mind is slipping away. Episode 2, Bitter Taste of Resentment. This is entitled, Flip the Bird Again, Sound. There will be another time. There will be another place. There will be another confession. There will be another plebeian who misses the stroke of your light, condemned to their banal existence, rotting in their blindness, floating in their desolating hibernation, forsaking your love. Let them burn in their paralyzed notion of seeming to care. They only wrong you along the way. Herald of the rainy day. On the tallest branch of a dried tree, where an eye set to the edge of the desert, sits a skylark. the other eye to the sky of no clouds. Last one in this episode, letting go. Life could be simpler. As simple as lying on the grass, looking at the horizon of trees, and forgiving the one who's not even sorry. Episode 3, realization, or who the hell are you? This one's called Persona. He protests his virility and lets his bitter soul dissolve in tears in hopes of redeeming the infant body. For he knows how the savage within became the dark covering his consciousness. Thus, and no other, he shall roam within, finding the lost path out of this blotter. Sound of silence. In the darkness of the shadow, I was searching to find a reason to leave this numb feeling. Just to see what if the sign on the doorpost would read what I wanted to read. Just to see what if I do whatever I want and no one would blame me like a kid with bad habits. And I would dance to the rhythm of dropping water in the sink and the old man's cane breaking the silence of the alley, and repeat all the questions I did not ask, and all the words you did not say, all the unknowns that we all have forgotten to speak of. And in the deepest of my reverie, all the rhythms of the world around me would suddenly get in sync. Enigma. Riding along the coast of dejection, silence would descend on you with the fading rhythm of a languishing heart. Soon you realize that there is nothing morbid about the deception of your existence if you haven't felt the hardness of the pavement with your bones. And as time goes by, no matter how scarred you are, the enigma of life comes back for more. Misty horizon. When silly honor emotions sting like shame, and despite of them, or maybe because of them, you take flight like the dust in the wind, finding yourself eluding judgment. You put off relating to plebeian elements of everyday normalcy, with the irony of seeming to give it down. And then, the thought of the dreadfully loud scream of the interminable pain, the mere thought of what has to happen suddenly ceases. You're free at last. The mirror is broken. The last episode, when you realize that it is love. Why do I call it that? Because a lot of us are in a relationship, and for whatever reason, we break up. And after that breakup, you truly realize that it wasn't true love. You were in love. That mighty longing. So these poems are from that period. Unchained melody. When your hopes fall like lingering rain, quietly to the moist soil of tears you cried, beneath your feet. You tend to choose the path of disappearance. But if I was to die, if I vanished from your life, would your night be illuminated by our memories? Would your heart play its beat on the night of our love? Roaming the world is not even enough to find pieces of my longing for you. The last sigh. And in case there is a slightest chance, like a tiny flame, smoldering still, that you were wondering, I died that day when you left me. If I didn't dream of you by the shore, if my search was doomed, and no trace of you was to be found anymore, if the words they say were all true, and my life perpetuated to be blue, and my heart of stone was the reason that I'm alone, if I was to accept that what was happening was the reason for my bitterness and suffering, and I would choose a silent accord, meandering in the meaning of my being, then why am I still mesmerized by every sight of you and the world you share as I just stand and stare? Thank you.
Thank you so much. One other round for Reza. Are you ready for the second?